Chapter 61 Chrono Rewind. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Vajra, release your aura and drag the beast out of its hidden state. Choosing the second option, Azzy ordered the black wolf. Growling towards the lava that settled at the bottom of the volcano, the wolf released its aura to provoke the monster to battle. All of a sudden, the surroundings became chaotic. The beasts that are resting in the lava, the beasts that are battling, some experts sensed its presence and started to run away towards the forest. None of them were willing to stay in a 10 km radius around Azzy and his beast. Looking at such a scene, the adventurers wondered whether the Volcanus King woke up from its sleep. It is known that whenever this platinum-grade beast woke up, a volcanic eruption takes place. As monsters, naturally, they can sense natural disasters better than humans. So, everyone started to leave, right away. Even Gideon and Lark were no exceptions either. As for the 4 students who are still at rank point 3, they were saved by the teachers and escorted away. Meanwhile, the beast that was resting in the magma, at the bottom of the volcano, felt its aura and started to dive further deep to escape for its life. Azzy was taken aback as he sensed what's happening around him. What's happening? Did Vajra scare them away? Only did then the Reaper remembered the most important thing and let out a deep sigh. I forgot the child neither know how to control his strength nor suppress his arcana. My mistake, Azrael. The Reaper apologized. I forgot that you hadn't completed the Decarun sealing yet. I should have warned you about the suppression of celestial grade beasts' aura on lower grade beasts. The Reaper then ordered the wolf to retract its aura. Everything became calm quickly. The beasts no longer felt that terrifying aura. The Reaper's response surprised him further. Celestial grade. He never heard of such a grade. As he then remembered the Reaper mentioned him once about how the Black Lightning Wolf is on another level compared to platinum grade beasts. The boy thought it was only a top-tier beast. However, like others, he was also mistaken about its grade. It seems it wasn't a platinum grade but a celestial grade spirit. He wondered whether it comes after the platinum grade. As he then asked, how many grades are there, Kronos? What is the highest grade of an arcana spirit? The Reaper answered, in your textbooks, arcana spirits from white, then goes on to red, blue, silver, purple, gold, and ends with platinum grade. You also learned that a beast that goes under mutation 2 times will change its grade. Like the Galarian beast, as he commented. Then, ever wondered what would happen if a platinum grade spirit double mutates? The Reaper asked. As he only thought it now. That's right. There's no rule that platinum grade spirit cannot mutate 2 times. He then remembered something that the Reaper told him about the origins of Vajra. Does that mean, due to the corruption of Proto's energy, Vajra double mutated and became a celestial grade spirit? As he asked him. No. The Reaper replied that his conjecture was wrong. Vajra was born as the celestial grade lightning spirit and mutated into a black lightning ball. If it mutates again, it will step into the next grade. There's one more above celestial grade. Azzy was shocked to hear it. The platinum grade itself scares many people. And now, he learned that there are even 2 higher grades above. Yes. Above platinum grade, there's celestial grade. After that, comes the divine grade, which is the final stage. When a spirit reaches such a grade, in its next life, it will reborn at the celestial world where the immortals reside. Azzy was stunned as he continued to listen. After all, it was unbelievable to hear such a grade even exists. According to Azzy, gold grades are being treated as a genius. And people with platinum grade, no need to mention about them. They are obviously stars wherever they are. However, now he heard that his black wolf not only is of celestial grade, and if it mutates just one more time, it will even reach divine grade. Just how crazy is that? So, he asked the Reaper whether there's any existence of the beast in the past that was able to become a divine grade. In response to his question, the Reaper answered with a yes, but when asked about it, he didn't say the name and just told him that he wasn't ready for it. As someone who trusted him a lot, Azzy didn't probe it further and concentrated on the lava below him. Using aura sensing, he only found out that the beast has already escaped his 5 kilometers range. Having no other choice, Azzy turned around to walk away. Right then, the Reaper's voice once again sounded in his head. There are no people around you, right now. You can take advantage of the situation and attack the lava to drag it out as long as you dispel the wolf. But, it was already out of my sensing range. How would I even able to attack it? Azzy asked him. If the attack won't even reach it, it wouldn't make sense that it would come out, right? In response, the Reaper chuckled, did you forget your strongest weapon, the hourglass? You mean chrono rewind? As soon as the Reaper brought up the usage of the hourglass, Azzy immediately realized what he was supposed to do it. It was one of the soul skills that will let him rewind the time of a target. Upon turning back their time, they will revert to the state and appear at the place where they were supposed to be, at that particular point in time. However, the only issue that's bothering him is the control. What if he rewinds its time more than necessary? The Reaper, who understood his thoughts, said, you don't need to worry about that. In your current state, the most you turn back the time is around 1 week. So, even if the Volcanus King went on a rampage that day, it would still be nearby. You can catch it up either way. Chapter 62 Volcanus King mutates. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Trusting his words, Azzy nodded and dismissed the wolf before he summoned the hourglass. Turning it upside down, he spoke, soul skill. Chrono rewind. Pouring his soul energy into the hourglass, he activated the skill. As the white sand slowly falling onto the sand, meanwhile, the beast felt some invisible force is dragging it upwards. It roared and tried to resist, but the force appeared invincible. He didn't know how many hours or days he was rewinding its time, but within a few seconds, it reached the surface of the volcano and then was forced to lie on its back and float on the lava. Only then, it realized the force disappeared. As its eyes captured the sky, it then saw a boy was standing on the edge of the volcano, looking at it while holding a seemingly ordinary hourglass. Azzy quickly dismissed the hourglass as soon as he saw the platinum-grade Volcanus King. He immediately summoned the death scythe that's almost twice his size and raised it over his head. Azzy didn't waste time to attack using the soul skill. Soul skill. Slice of death. His eyes turned pitch black with no visible pupils while his weapon was greedily absorbing every drop of his soul energy. The monster frowned as it sensed some unfamiliar energy from above. When it tried to sense its power, it felt the energy wasn't comparable to the aura it sensed earlier. However, thinking of the earlier events, first, a terrifying aura, then, forced to float on the lava, and now the energy from the scythe, it felt the three are connected as they happened one after another. The beast somehow stood up on its 4 legs without drowning and then, controlled the lava beneath it to rise towards the top. Finding the beast coming towards him, Azzy thought the situation turned out better since he doesn't have to waste the attack on provocation. He swung the scythe towards the uprising lava where the beast was standing. A huge arc filled with death energy cut the air as it traveled towards the target at a fast pace. Just as it was about to hit the Volcanus King, Azzy saw it suddenly disappeared. No. It's more like it drowned itself into the lava. The attack hit the lava and sliced into 2 parts, making its way towards the bottom. As time passed, the arc became thinner and smaller. Eventually, it disappeared after 10.15 seconds. Meanwhile, due to the disturbance caused by the energy attack, the uprising lava only became wilder and its temperature and speed suddenly increased tremendously. If Azzy either would have at least about the volcanoes, he would have found something is off about the behavior of the lava in the volcano. There are no tremors, no gases being released. It was just lava that was rising as if it became angry. But, he was too young and didn't have a proper education either. So, he didn't find anything amiss and thought it was normal. So, he didn't put his attention on it and looked for the beast. Where did it disappear, all of a sudden? He activated his aura sensing again to sense its location. He sensed its position didn't change a bit. Did it become invisible or something? As he wondered as he was looking at the visual of the aura while the beast appeared invisible. I see. This is why the attack passed through its body and hit the lava. That was some convenient ability. Azrael, use the flying card, now. The Reaper reminded him to fly away as the lava almost reached him. Azzy, who was in the middle of his thoughts, quickly took out the gold-grade flying card from his storage card. Unlike the skill cards, the item cards such as flying cards, storage cards, disguise cards, levitation cards, etc., don't have ranks but were divided into grades. They can be used by any soul. Rank Arcana Master as long as they continue to supply soul energy to them. The higher the grade, the greater their quality and consumption of soul power will be. It was one of the items given by his grandpa when he left for the Death Clan. Due to not getting any opportunity to use it, he didn't use it, until now. Using the flying card, as he rose up in the air and got out of the range, the lava flew out of the volcano and started to flow down like a river from all sides, joining the lava lake. Since there's no presence of humans around except for himself, Azzy didn't care about the volcanic eruption and focused on locating his target. He found the beast was now ended up somewhere in the middle of the lake. Azzy stared at it, intently, for a while as he sensed its aura was becoming slightly stronger. Is the beast absorbing the fire energy? Since it appeared invisible, Azzy thought attacking is only a waste of time and soul power and just concentrated on the flying card to go near to it. Even though it was his first time controlling it, Azzy was able to go in the exact direction he intended to go. The flying card traveled straight until it reached the spot and halted, a few meters away from the beast that was standing on the lava and was constantly absorbing the fire energy from it, just like he expected. A few minutes later, the density of its aura grew further. Azzy felt it is now far stronger than the Galarian beast. Soon, the invisibility wore off and he saw the quadrupedal beast that used to be in maroon color was now golden. The black spikes on its back now grew bigger and sharper. The hoop over its head was gone while its golden eyes turned red. It let out a powerful roar before raising its head to look at Azzy. Now that you aided its mutation, get ready to free the lava spirit too. The Reaper's voice echoed in his head. Lava spirit. Azzy was taken aback. What are you talking about? Chapter 63 Nature Spirit. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Don't you find it odd about the behavior of the volcano? The Reaper responded to him with a question instead of directly explaining about the lava spirit. Azzy didn't get what he is talking about. What behavior? The Reaper then gave him a clue, like erupting very frequently to make sure the lava lake never hardens up. So, are you telling me that this volcano was actually some platinum-grade beast in disguise? Based on his clue and his earlier words about a lava spirit, Azzy tried to guess the answer. But then, he shook his head. No, it can't be. Even if its disguise is perfect, one can still able to sense its rank unless it completely suppressed its strength to 0. Others may not able to find it out, but during the earlier commotion, when I tried to sense the Volcanus King, I didn't find any other presence. Wait a second. Something clicked in his mind, and he mumbled, lava. Azzy looked at the lava lake and said, Kronos, is it possible that the magma that was flowing beneath the volcano is the one that you are referring to? If the entire lava is a beast, since its core is located far away from the range, no one would be able to sense its presence. Exactly. The Reaper confirmed his thoughts. He was satisfied with Azzy's thoughts. If anyone hears Azzy's theory, they would think he was crazy. Azzy himself wouldn't believe if the same theory was told by someone, but he knew that the Reaper can't lie. So, when he thought deeply about his words, he found the answer. What you thought is right. However, there's a small correction. The core wasn't beneath the volcano but inside the beast. Azzy was taken aback and looked at the beast that was staring at him in silence. This lava spirit is different from the ones you know. It is called a nature spirit. All the spirits must go through the reincarnation point to acquire a materialistic body in their next life. Before that, they will be judged by the goddess of judgment. Based on one's deeds, she will judge where the spirit will reincarnate in its next life. Due to the fear, some of the spirits will try to escape the spirit world in whatever way they can, before the judgment has been passed on. Celestial-grade beasts are too powerful to be restricted by the laws of the spirit world or the material world. So, they can just leave the spirit world and naturally choose a worthy host on their own, just like Vajra. Meanwhile, due to the lack of security provided by that spirit king, from time to time, it is common that some of the lower-grade spirits will also get successful in escaping. However, the material world laws restrict them to possess a human body. As a result, they will be returned to the netherworld and get their punishment for trying to break the laws. But if the escapee is a platinum-grade beast, they were able to resist it to some extent but will be trapped in the form of natural bodies such as a river, lava, mountains, lakes, ash, clouds, etc. The reason you or anyone wasn't able to sense it, until now, is because this spirit tried to merge with the Volcanus King's spirit. However, in the process, instead of getting merged, the Volcanus devoured its spirit due to the difference in their strength. This is the reason it was able to control a part of lava. Although it is still incomplete, I can see that almost 3/4 have been consumed. Once it consumes completely, the beast will be able to control the entire lava on the outside as well as the magma river that was flowing down beneath the volcano. The result would be disastrous. Azzy mumbled in shock as he imagined the beast summoning the entire magma beneath the volcano and attack the humans. That kind of power is dangerous. That isn't the main issue here, Azrael. The Reaper once again interrupted his thoughts. Merging the soul itself is a heavy crime according to the celestial laws. It is your duty to kill the beast and send those spirits to the spirit world, so that, they will face proper punishment. Azzy was surprised upon hearing the Reaper's explanation. It isn't because of the new knowledge he received from him but rather on how he is more focused on punishing the criminal. Azzy then remembered the incident where he took away Vajra's life too. He then realized the Reaper mentioned another odd thing. Wait a second. Why it is my duty to free the spirit? He asked. The Reaper fell silent for a few seconds, cursing himself for his slip-up. After quickly thinking of a reason, he then gave a lesson: the more powerful one gets, the more responsible they will have to be, for the world they live in. After all, you can't become powerful by yourself. You can't even grow by yourself. The food you eat, the water you drink, the monsters you hunt, everything was nature's gift. After taking away resources from nature, if you won't return something, then, you are equal as a sinner. Got it. Azzy understood what the Reaper was trying to tell him but he felt something amiss with his wording, although he can't put his finger on it. The Reaper then sighed in relief and then, suddenly, his eyes widened as if he was surprised because of something. Just one small incident changed that much. He mumbled to himself. Only he knew the meaning behind the sentence. Red Wing Hotel, Estria City. Sapphire returns to the city while riding on her griffin. Due to the restrictions placed by the authorities, she didn't fly within the city and ordered the griffin run, on the way. Reaching the hotel, she dismissed the beast and went to her room to rest until the boy activates the fixed teleportation card and teleport directly to the hotel lobby. Just as she opened the door, the princess was stunned to find her sister is missing. EP. Chapter 64 Reign of Death. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Finding her little sister missing, Sapphire became worried about whether she was abducted. They are from the royal family, after all. Getting kidnapped in exchange for money is common for them. However, what she was worried about is whether the abductor was an enemy. She didn't even think of EP leave on her own as she knew that the girl always obeys her words. Not intending to waste any time, she hurriedly went downstairs and contacted the manager. If it has happened on their home planet, she would instantly ask the government for help to track her whereabouts through the satellite. But this is a place that is placed in a different dimension and was trapped by a barrier. Due to a pact made by all the nations, things like electricity, vehicles, military weapons, satellites, etc., are forbidden in this region. Sure, one can bring them secretively by the storage cards. However, once get caught, they will be severely punished. So, Sapphire had no choice but to depend on the staff that might have spotted her. Sadly, what she received was a piece of bad news. For a whole hour, they searched every corner of the hotel and returned empty-handed. She was enraged and shouted at the manager, "A person was missing from the hotel and you say none of you even spot her while leaving. It isn't even midnight. Are all of your staff members sleeping in broad daylight? I apologize, Your Highness." What can the manager do, except for apologizing, in place of the staff? She glared at him and said, "Mark my words. If I find my sister was really abducted and fallen into trouble, you can be sure that this building will be razed to the ground." After giving them the warning, she walked out of the door in worry while taking out a purple grade item card called a message card, which can be used to send a message to a person who owns the other card that's linked with it. "Uncle, EP is missing. Contact the authorities and help me find her." As the entire city of Estria turned upside down with finding the 10-year-old girl, meanwhile, at the lava lake, Azzy was dodging the lava attack by the Volcanus King. With his soul power nearly empty, he used soul absorption on the beast, so that he can recover while injuring it heavily in the process. However, just as he absorbed a couple of thousand worth of soul power, this mutated platinum-grade beast used the lava to protect itself by forming a thick layer over it. When it didn't work, it immediately controlled nearby lava to attack him. A certain volume of lava rose like a tide and attacked him. Azzy immediately dodged the attack and then, found that he wasn't able to absorb its soul power, anymore. So, that means, I need to stay still, huh? Because of this battle, he found out his soul skill's weakness. So far, he thought that as long as he uses soul absorption, he is invincible against anyone that's equal or below his rank. He now realized that his soul skill isn't invincible. It let him wonder whether there are weaknesses for his other skills too. Azzy decided to work on them after finishing off this beast. Looking at it, the Reaper smiled. He was happy at Azzy's progress. He wondered whether it is better for him to leave Azzy on his own, at least in this battle. He wanted to see how he would fare without his guidance. "There are no beasts in the surrounding either," Azzy mumbled, dodging another lava tide. "That means, I can't absorb the soul power from others." Having no other choice, Azzy then took out one of his recovery cards to replenish his soul energy. However, he found out none of them are peak.grade ones. Maybe, it's because his grandpa was a rank .4 in the future and wasn't able to craft them. Or maybe, his grandpa thought that they won't be necessary as Azzy was going to the Death Clan. So, he would have an enormous amount of resources. For whatever reason, except for one, the remaining 9 are of beginner level. So, each one only recovered 1000.5000 soul power. It took all 10 of them to let him recover 90% of his soul power. Since he can't waste soul power too much, Azzy decided not to depend on soul skills and only use them when it's absolutely necessary. Dodging its attack once more, Azzy controlled the flying card and flew towards the shore. Due to its limited control over the lava lake, the beast wasn't able to attack him. Stepping onto the shore, he dismissed the flying card, back to the storage, and then looked at the ball of lava, inside which the beast was staying still. Is it trying to merge further? He wondered. Azzy then raised his death scythe, up above his head, and ran soul energy through it. Soul skill. Reign of Death. Previously, He felt the need to use the soul skills only when it's necessary, but to attract its attention. In the end, he still used the soul skill anyway. A dark cloud slowly started to form above his death scythe. As his soul power steadily decreased, its size started to increase. Soon, it became a giant cloud, spanning over 50 meters in size. As it completely formed, Azzy heard thunder within and black rain started to fall. Since he's the user, they didn't harm him. However, the land around him that was hit by the black raindrops slowly started to melt. As a result, Azzy sunk for a couple of feet. As for the lava before him, as soon as the drops hit the surface, even the high-temperature liquid started to vaporize. However, due to the massive size of the lava volume, its energy was absorbed and wasn't that much affected. With his death scythe as a steering wheel, he controlled the movements of the cloud. The dark cloud slowly made its way towards the giant ball of lava and stopped right above it. Slowly, the death energy started to vaporize the protective shield. Within no time, the beast roared in pain as a drop of black rain fell on a spike that was located on its head and was completely melted as a result. Chapter 65 Chasing the Volcanus King. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Gra, the beast roared in pain as the lava protection disappeared and its skin started to melt, the moment it was touched by the black rain. It no longer concentrated on merging and controlled all the lava around it to rise and attack towards the cloud. The cloud was hit by large volumes of lava. Clearly, continuous small drops of rain weren't able to stop and got overpowered. However, the moment they touched the cloud, all of them were just absorbed into the cloud and the rain started to thicker. Still, the rain wasn't able to hit the beast as it continues to gather the lava and directed them to above its head. The lava started to disappear and the rain continued to thicken, but the beast didn't stop its attempt. As for why didn't it flee yet, is because of the large area that the cloud covered. With the rain thickened, if it would step out, all of its skin would melt away and will leave with a skeleton in the end. 5 minutes later, the rain stopped and the cloud disappeared. Meanwhile, the depth level of Lava Lake decreased from 3 feet to 2 feet. It just tells how much amount did the beast use just to ward off the attack. Too bad that my objective failed. Azzy, who actually hoped for the beast to move from the spot, was disappointed with the result. Still, the fact that the death rain fell for 5 minutes straight, made him satisfied with it. Somehow, a feeling of desire to test it stemmed in his heart. He wanted to use it on other creatures and see its limitations and all. Gra, the Volcanus King's roar brought him back to reality. He saw it spotted him and stared at him for a few seconds, but then, to his surprise, instead of rushing with rage, it turned into a scaredy cat and started to escape towards the volcano. Right now, it wanted to go back and hide within the volcano to complete the merging. As it etched his image in its mind, the monster decides to retreat for now and take revenge later. However, it was too na.ve to think that Azzy would let that happen. Once he decided on something, he will do it for sure. Summoning the black wolf again, he ordered it to chase the beast. Wow! It accepted his orders and started to rush. At the same time, Azzy took out the flying card once again and chase after both of them. As a beast of the lightning attribute, naturally, Vajra's speed was top-notch. It easily caught up with the fleeing beast and tried to attack with its paw, but the beast controlled the lava to block its attack. The wolf dodged the lava, making a zig-zag movement, and bites one of the volcanous spikes that are on its back. It roared once again as one of its spikes was removed from his back. The wolf didn't stop there. Following the bite, it raised its claws once again and invoked the soul skill. A huge dark wolf paw appeared in the air with its claws extending from it. As the wolf motioned its paws, the energy claws attacked it once again. Although the volcanous beast tried to defend it with the lava, its speed turned out to be slower and the attack landed. 3 big claw marks appeared on its back and it started to bleed. This attack hurt it a lot. Even though it didn't see the attack, as a platinum-grade beast, it felt this as a soul skill too. Being a defensive-type monster, Vajra's attack also didn't do much damage to it. So, if it ignores the pain, it would be able to escape easily. However, the fact that it was escaping from a high-rank .4 beast hurt its pride. This time, it was thoroughly enraged and suddenly, a crazy thought emerged into its mind. Since this beast is of higher grade, if it consumes the flesh of this beast, it felt its merging would become a success and its soul quality will improve further. In the end, it decided to fight against it and stopped. As it turned around, Vajra also stopped its movements and stood still on the surface of lava while growling at it. It was actually waiting for Aziz's arrival, but too bad that the speed of the flying card is extremely slow. So, the battle resumed without his presence. The beast, this time, went on the offensive. It didn't waste any time to use its soul skill. Its spikes on the back started to glow and the beast opened up its mouth. Similar to the earlier one, small orbs made of lava started to rise up from the lake. The Volcanus King controlled the lava spheres and attacked the wolf, one by one. Vajra is a beast with the specialty of speed. How can it be hit by those slow attacks? Naturally, it dodged them and counter-attacked it by scratching its shoulder. Since it wasn't a soul skill, it didn't do much damage to it. The beast put up with it and attacked it with the lava spheres again. Like the wolf expected, they weren't gone after they missed it. 12 lava spheres continuously aggressively attacked the wolf. Vajra, on the other hand, was just counterattacking with simple scratching or biting, after it received the order from Aziz to not use the soul skills. A few moments later, Aziz, who caught up with the both of them, saw they were in an intense battle against each other. Vajra no longer appeared dominating the battle, now. Volcanus King's 12 sphere balls are moving in a completely random manner. Trying to help out the wolf, he didn't hesitate to activate another soul skill that belongs to the Reaper. Soul skill. Eyes of God. Aziz's eyes turned pitch black with no visible pupils. By activating God's eyes, he was able to see everything in his surroundings. Unlike the aura sensing, it appeared as if he was looking at the entire 1-kilometer range from the sky. At the same time, everything appeared slow to him as well, whether it is the movement of the lava spheres or the black lightning wolf's fast-paced attacks. He observed their conditions. First, he looked at his arcana. Looking at the burn on the wolf's ear and its right leg, Aziz thought it might have been hit in the process. Then, he observed the beast and shook his head. It is a mess. While smelling his presence, Vajra barked in response. Vajra, attack its left shoulder joint. He gave out a quick order. Soul skill. Extreme bite. The wolf's canines grew sharp upon activating its soul skill. Lightning sparks danced around its legs for a second before it dashed towards the beast. The Volcanus King tried to attack it with the lava spheres again, but none of them were able to hit, and the wolf this time targeted its left shoulder where its skin melted and only a piece of bones was showing. Suddenly, it felt the wolf's bite force increase tremendously, and before it knew what's going on, the beast felt its entire arm was missing and it was in Vajra's mouth, which it threw away. Its eyes widened in shock. It finally experienced the difference between the two of them. Glancing at the boy in the air, the Volcanus King once again started to flee. Until now, it felt like it was able to succeed with its attempt, but now, as soon as this fellow appeared and gave one simple order, the beast felt the tides have turned. Once it was sure that it can't kill it under Aziz's watch, it only had one plan. To get back to its home and recuperate. One other reason that it was confident in escaping is because of Aziz's low speed. The beast didn't think that Aziz won't be able to catch up with its speed. The present situation itself is the proof for it. As long as he won't be near them, the wolf cannot receive his guidance and will only attack wildly like earlier. Even if it uses the soul skill, its back is sturdy either way. In the end, the chase resumed once again. Vajra continued to attack the running beast. Volcanus King put up with its defense. Soon, both of them reached the foot of the mountain. Because of less volume of lava, the Volcanus was forced to use one of its soul skills to make its body as hard as steel. Because of the high reuse time of the skill, it didn't use it against Aziz's black rain, but now, after getting heavily injured, without the protection of lava, it felt the need to do it. Half an hour later, Vajra and the Volcanus King reached the edge of the volcano. As some time passed after the volcanic eruption, the lava returned to the base of the volcano. Standing at the edge, it laughed before diving into the lava. The wolf wasn't able to follow it and stared at the falling beast in anger. Right then, all of a sudden, it saw the beast stopped in the mid-air like a statue. Vajra was taken aback in surprise. It became confused as it didn't know what's going on. For a whole minute, the beast was just suspended in the air. Slowly, the flying card lowered its altitude and it saw as he landed beside it. Along with the death scythe, he also has the hourglass. With its one hand, he raised the death scythe over his head and spoke, "Soul skill. Cursed skulls." Chapter 66 Breakthrough to Rank Point 5. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Teleportation Point, Estria City. The authorities in the Arcana world have built one teleportation point in every city to make sure the people can teleport to their desired location. However, there's a catch. To go through the teleportation formation and leave the city, one must have an identification document of any kind. One must have the access badge which will only let them teleport to similar regions, and lastly, one must have enough money. As long as one has these three things, the guards wouldn't care even if it's a person with a criminal record. Of course, it is only restricted to Gaia. If a person is a wanted criminal in Arcana world, she would be apprehended on the spot. Epi reached the only teleportation point in the city. Thankfully, she arrived long before the volcanic eruption, so, there weren't that many people here. In no time, her turn came in. The guardian/gatekeeper ignored her and looked at the woman who was standing behind her and asked, "Is she related to you?" While the woman was taken aback because of a sudden question, Epi calmly answered in her place, "No. We aren't related. I need to go to Central City. Here are my student ID and level .2 access badge." She then handed the credit card to him. "Are you alone? Where are your parents? If you are lost, we can help you out." Because of her age, the guardian thought she might have been lost. In response to his question, Epi released her aura, surprising everyone around her. The gatekeeper was stunned to see a fellow rank .4 before him. He immediately looked at her ID and was shocked to see that she was indeed a young girl as he thought. What's more shocking is that this 10-year-old girl managed to suppress her strength to rank .2. This is the reason he wasn't able to found her original rank. As he was rooted to the ground like a statue, Epi spoke, "Hurry up, mister. I need to get back to the academy." "Ah, yes." He nodded and moved aside to give her the way. Taking back her things, she walked to the formation and stayed still until another guardian who was working as an activator, took out a card and activated the teleportation formation with a dumbfounded look on his face. This peak rank .5 was also surprised by her soul rank. As the formation activated, she disappeared instantly. Looking at it, the guardian at the entrance mumbled, "Phoenix Academy students are really different from the rest. MT Estria, soul skill. Cursed skulls." Almost instantly, 3 energy-made skulls which are as big as Aziz's head appeared at the tip of the scythe. Vajra looked at them, curiously. After all, it was the first time it was being a bystander when its host was acting. Other times, since it was also participating in battle, it won't get to observe Aziz's other soul skills from up close. Feeling the mixture of death and Proto's energies, it was odd to see it from up close. Meanwhile, the time resumed and the beast continued to fall. As it was falling freely with its back facing the sky, it was unable to see Aziz. But, it felt like dangerous energy above it. It had the same feeling when it faced the black rain. It turned its head to see what's happening. Its eyes widened in surprise. Just a few seconds ago, before it jumps, it clearly saw Aziz was far away. It wondered whether he used a teleportation skill card or something. In the next second, it quickly threw away the useless thoughts as soon as it saw the 3 skulls at the tip of the blade. At the instant, it remembered the scene of the black rain. It might not fear the wolf, but it was scared of this mysterious boy. The platinum-grade beast quickly tried to control the calm lava, a kilometer beneath it, to rise and form a wall so that it may get enough time to escape. However, Azzy didn't give it the chance to do that. Goodbye. Azzy swung it down with every ounce of his strength while almost emptying his soul energy. Before the lava even rose 100 meters, the first skull hit its back and disappeared. In the first second, it felt its body started to become numb. It wasn't able to feel its front or hind limbs. In the next second, the second skull hit its back, and it felt some unfamiliar energy in its body, corrupting all of its soul energy. It lost its control over the lava in the process, and the uprising lava stopped in the midway. In the final second, the last skull hit at the same spot, and all of its life force was sucked away. All of its organs stopped functioning. Just 3 seconds and the volcanous beast ended up dead, leaving behind a platinum-colored soul orb, which kept on floating in the air while the rest of the body fell into the lava. Good job, Azrael. The Reaper praised him for taking action at the perfect time. The spirits of the volcanous king and lava returned to the spirit world. The celestial world is going to send a replacement for the volcanous king to maintain the order here. So, you don't need to worry about that. Now, go and absorb the soul power. Even though Azzy never asked about it, the Reaper revealed the information on purpose as he knew Azzy's personality very well. If not now, in the future when he learns of the Region King's duty, he will hesitate to kill them. Got it. Even though he didn't understand what the Reaper is talking about, Azzy simply nodded as his entire focus in on the beautiful orb before his eyes. Dismissing the weapons into his soul card, Azzy stepped onto the flying card and slowly flew towards the soul orb. Placing his palm on it, Azzy absorbed it, almost instantly. He then felt a surge in soul energy within his body. In the meantime, the power was refined into his soul energy, letting him gain 25,000 worth of soul power, instantly boosting his soul rank to beginner rank 5 without facing any issues. Due to the surge of energy, he felt the soul energy within his body started to run wild. To stabilize it, he immediately sat in a meditative position, not caring about the heat from the lava below. Inside his soul space, a 5th planet that is 10 times bigger than the previous one has been formed. Half an hour later, Azzy stood up on his feet after suppressing all of the soul energy into the soul orb. He also felt his soul orb grew larger, thereby increasing the maximum capacity. He summoned his soul card and looked at it. The number changed to 105452. Is this because the beast was a mutated one? Azzy asked the Reaper about the reason for the massive boost of soul power. In the last week, when he killed a gold-grade peak rank 4 snake, he only received 900 worth of soul power, but, now, he received almost 30 times the soul power. Azzy can't help but doubt it. The Reaper confirmed his guess, yes. Usually, if you kill a peak rank 0.4 platinum grade beast and absorb its soul energy, you would receive around 10,000 worth of soul energy, but it is something that has been mutated once more and is only a step away from celestial grade. That's why you receive 25,000 worth of soul power. Too bad that it isn't of a lightning attribute, or else Vajra would have gained something more. Anyway, now, you should focus on completing the seal as soon as possible. After returning, your priority must be the Dekarun seal. I understand. Azzy nodded. Oh. By the way, the teleportation card. The Reaper then reminded him about the lady from the Magnoli's family. As Reaper was constantly pressing him to meet her, he decided to meet her, but only after he contacts his teachers and classmates. Due to the earlier commotion, they were separated, and now, the teachers don't even know his location. Reaching the shores of the lava lake, Azzy started to walk towards the harbor where they first landed and decided to meet, later, during their return. As he was returning to the meeting place, Azzy saw the forest is completely in chaos, right now. Various types of beasts are running amok while the Arcana Masters and the authorities are currently dealing with them. Hey, kid, what are you doing here? A beginner level rank .5 guardian who was fighting against a peak level rank .4 monster, shouted as he saw him. Go away. It is dangerous. After warning him, he didn't place his attention on him any longer and continued to battle the beast. Azzy felt guilty for he's the one that's responsible for the situation. So, he wanted to help them out, but then, the Reaper warned him about the consequences. Azrael, you aren't strong enough to expose your strength to the world. You also have an ambiguous background. The best you can do is to quietly train and increase your strength to rank .7 and get out of here after you fulfilled your objective. But, Azzy tried to argue with the Reaper that he needs to be responsible for his actions. In return, the Reaper explained that the authorities are strong enough to take care of the situation. When Azzy wasn't satisfied with the answer, the Reaper further said to complete the Decarun sealing, which not only helps with his control but also conceals his real soul rank from others. Filled with unwillingness, Azzy had to walk away from there. Meanwhile, once again, the Reaper stared blankly for a couple of seconds and mumbled to himself, good, another event has been prevented, although the end remains the same. I wonder where the trigger is. Chapter 67 Leonard compromises with Azzy. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Estria Harbor, 6th grade. 8 students and their homeroom teacher are waiting for the remaining people to return. Gideon was staring at the volcano in worry. Looking at his expression, their homeroom teacher Reuben patted his shoulder and said, "There's no need to worry about Azrael. He's a lot stronger than you imagine. Unless the king made its move, I'm confident that he will be all right." Moreover, teacher Afiar left in search of Azzy. He'll bring him back. Even after hearing his explanation, Gideon's expression didn't change. He wouldn't be worried about his friend even if the platinum-grade beast went on a rampage. However, this is a natural disaster. When a natural disaster occurs, unless one is at least rank .5, they wouldn't be able to resist and get out unharmed, no matter how much potential they have. Soon, the rest of the students also arrived at the place. Following the volcanic eruption and the commotion raised by the beasts that are from the lava lake and the nearby surroundings, the city mayor ordered the guardians to take care of the situation as well as to check upon the volcano's king. However, before they even arrived at the lake, Azzy killed it, thereby causing a chain reaction, making all the beasts present on the island go into a frenzy. Having no other choice, the mayor issued an emergency. Following the order, the guardians arrived at the island and evacuated everyone else while closing off the island temporarily. Due to the sudden situation, the 9th and 10th graders were also forced to return to the harbor. While the other visitors are leaving, the students stayed at the harbor, waiting for Azzy and Afiar. Soon, they were the only outsiders left on the island. What are you doing here? The island was temporarily closed. A guardian said to the students and the 2 teachers. Please leave. In response, Gideon spoke, our friend hasn't returned yet. The homeroom teacher supported his statement, our colleague went to look for him. Give us 5 minutes. However, the guardian was adamant about his decision. Provide us the details and his photo. We will contact you when we find him. For now, please leave the island. Not necessary. A voice was heard from above them. Everyone raised their heads. Afiar and Azzy were standing on some kind of carpet. Azrael, you are finally here. The homeroom teacher sighed in relief, upon seeing the arrival of him. Due to the commotion caused by the monsters and the fellow visitors, he wasn't able to track down Azzy and only brought back the remaining ones. Like Gideon, he was also worried, inside. It's not like he was worried about Azzy's life. Once a person becomes a rank .4 and broke the first shackles of mortality, they can take their decisions on their own. It's more like he was worried about his neck. As Azzy is his responsibility, he feared the wrath of the principal if the boy were to get harmed in the process. It's not only him. The other teachers also feared the same. That's the reason why Afiar volunteered to search for him, instead of simply reporting to the authorities. But soon, their expressions changed from being relieved to shock. Even the guardian was perplexed at the moment. The carpet landed on the ground and Azzy stepped forward. "Sorry for the trouble," Afiar said to the guardian while folding the carpet. "We are leaving, right away." "Ah, yes." The rank .5 guardian stared at Azzy for a few seconds before giving them a nod and left the place. "Where did you go?" Gideon asked as Azzy stood beside him. "Here and there, busy with fighting the monsters," Azzy replied vaguely. Everyone thought he was probably stuck with the monsters that went on a rampage. The teachers also thought the same, thinking that it made sense, considering his current level that they were sensing. "Congratulations, Junior Azrael." All of a sudden, the Galarian beast that is in the disguise of Leonard, spoke to him. The students around him turned their heads in confusion. Bay Passel, who was standing behind the prince, frowned deeply. He clearly knew the reason behind Leo's words. Looking at the confused students, Leo smiled, "Welcome to the rank .5 club." Feeling his potential, the Galarian beast wanted to befriend him, so that, when its life gets in danger, Azzy will be forced to help it out. After all, it knew that Leo's relationship with Azzy isn't good. Since there are no witnesses either, it can easily claim that Azzy was the one that killed Leo and threatened it to take his place. With their bad relationship, the royal family will believe its lie and they would enough reason to kill Azzy. When both of the time comes, it can blackmail the boy, making such a point. It was clearly thinking that Azzy was just a kid and can be manipulated easily, not knowing its secret was already exposed to him. Following its plan, Leo put forth his hand for a handshake. It was also a gesture to others that he was willing to put aside their differences, from now onwards. However, Azzy didn't take his hand and simply nodded in response. Leo's face darkened at first, but then, thinking that isn't that easy for the kid to forget the ambush incident, he calmly placed his hand down. Right then, Exia, who was standing silently behind the grade .9 students, opened her mouth. "Student Azrael might be the youngest student from our academy to reach rank .5, right? She also congratulates Reuben for acquiring such a genius." He can't help but forcefully smile. After all, Azzy was his student, only in name. Every teacher knows of it. Meanwhile, the remaining students now realized the reason behind Leo's changed behavior. Reaching rank .5 at such age means he will likely become rank .6 before his graduation. Such a person will not be protected by the academy, but also the government. With sufficient support, Azzy's future will be limitless. And with such a person, even the royal family can't lay their hands on them. So, enmity with Azzy isn't worth the risk to Leonard over such petty arguments. That's what grade .9 students thought. As for the others from grade .10, they believed that Leo was just putting a false pretense since they knew his character very well. If it was the real Leo, they would have been right. However, the reality is much different. They didn't know that Leo was dead and was replaced by a beast. At the same time, they also felt embarrassed by getting surpassed by a junior. Moreover, he isn't a mere junior by 1 year either. Their age gap is also quite big. Hearing that a 12-year-old student achieved such a result, while the rest of them are still at peak level, rank .4 stage, they didn't know how to react to it. If it was someone else, sure, they would have felt happy that their fellow student is a genius. However, Azzy was someone they outcast from the beginning. Even though they felt embarrassed, one after the other, the rest of the students congratulated Azzy, who responded with nothing but a plain nod. "Okay, let's aboard the ship." Afiar clapped to get attention and explained that they had to return to the academy, now that they can no longer continue with the trip. The students were indeed disappointed. Except for Azzy, no one, on the day, was able to make a breakthrough. With the monthly tournament is near, the students encouraged themselves to work hard during the next week. One after the other, the students got onto the ship. As the ship started to sail towards the city, Azzy sat in the corner, sitting alone. Gideon sat with him. As for the remaining, no one went near. Previously, no one bothered to talk with him, but now, those people that expressed their willingness to ignore Azzy didn't even dare to go near him. Looking at the murderous gaze on Bay, Gideon whispered to Azzy, "Did you know that you will be going to tournament finals directly?" Azzy looked at him. Gideon continued, "Those who reach rank .5 won't need to participate in preliminary rounds. But, I heard that the student's soul power will be restricted to the same level as his opponent with a lower level." Azzy wondered why he would go to finals, directly, if the rankings of their soul don't matter. Gideon explained, "It's because, excluding yourself, only Leo, Bay, and another 2 students of grade .10, stood at rank .5. So, naturally, the Academy gives a privilege to all of you." "I see." Azzy nodded and looked at the front, again. City Hall, Estria City, Sapphire, on her griffin, reached the City Hall to meet the mayor, upon receiving the news about her sister. Going into the mayor's office, she saw 2 guardians were standing before the mayor. "Are these the guys that teleported her to Central City?" Sapphire asked the mayor without wasting her time on greetings. The mayor nodded and pushed one of them forward, "Tell her what you saw without leaving any information." Upon hearing everything, Sapphire was stunned. "You sure she was alone?" She asked him again to confirm his statement, not believing her ears. As both of the guardians replied with a yes, Sapphire asked, "After she teleported to Central City, who else went there?" Due to Mayor's warning, they already prepared the list beforehand and handed it out to her. She looked at the names. There are a lot of names on the list. However, she pointed the first 5 names on the list that went after her within 15 minutes. Chapter 68 EP gets abducted. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A few hours before the volcanic eruption, outside of the Red Wing Hotel, a rank .6 and a rank .5 expert are pretending to be talking to each other. However, their eyes were entirely on the hotel entrance. "Bro, I think we are pranked by that idiot." The young man spoke to his senior. "Let's think about it. Why does the princess of such a wealthy nation stop by a tier 3 city like Estria? Even if they come here for the little girl, there are other level .2 regions." No, the rank .6 expert shook his head. "Clifford never kid around. I trust him. If he said the targets will check into this hotel, then, it has to be true. We just have to wait. Be patient. We are waiting for 2 days, already." "How long?" Suddenly the beginner rank .5 junior stopped talking and looked in a direction. "Bro." The senior glanced in the direction he was looking at. Right then, Sapphire exited the hotel in her luxurious wear. Even those who don't know her would at least think that she's rich. Looking at her, the senior's eyes lit up. It's her, indeed. Sapphire Magnolia. As they continued to observe her from far away, they saw she summoned the griffin before setting out toward somewhere. She actually left to meet Azzy upon receiving a report from one of the guardians who work at Northern Kudur Nation's portal point. "Bro, let's follow." The junior suggested, not wasting any time to follow her and then abduct her. Even though they knew she had a platinum-grade beast, they had their own methods to deal with her and were extremely confident in doing so. "Wait." The senior stopped him. "Leave her alone." "Ha." The junior was puzzled by his senior's actions. The senior then explained that they won't target her but the little girl that came with her. Once they get the 6th Princess EP Magnolies, they will lure the elder sister to a trap. As a part of their plan, they decided to sneak into the hotel. Both of them started to make a plan to make sure they won't be detected by the hotel staff. But, who could have expected that the little girl exits the hotel right after her sister left for Whale Island? Bro, we're lucky. The junior grinned in response as he watched her moving on her feet, leaving towards the city outskirts. To not cause trouble within the city and alert the guardians, they quietly followed her all the way to the teleportation point. To avoid suspicions, the senior stood a person after her and the other one stood 5 people after his senior. Soon, both of them left to the same destination as her. Teleportation point, Central City. The Central City is the largest city in both of the worlds, spanning over 50,000 square kilometers in area. One should say it is as big as a small nation. It is also referred to as the headquarters of Arcana World or the capital region. Unlike the other regions, this capital doesn't host any King of Wild zones within or nearby its surroundings too. The nearest wild zone, which is only a level 1, was located 500 kilometers away from the city. That means this was the only place where one's soul wouldn't be restricted. So, one can see a large number of higher rank experts, at any time. The city was home to a variety number of stores, the biggest underground market, auction houses, arcana academies, arenas, entertainment, etc. However, there are only 2 rules, here. The first is that mortals cannot step inside the city. So, it is exclusively for arcana masters. The second is that one cannot acquire land here, no matter what their background is. If one wanted to stay, they have but 2 options. One is to enroll in one of the academies and stay at the dorms. 2 is to stay at a hotel. With its popularity, it's natural that it was highly visited by thousands of arcana masters, every day. Now, that is where the problem arises with security. Because the guardians were busy monitoring the higher rank individuals, the lower ranks were often gets ignored by the authorities. So, the crime rate is also pretty much high. Because of this reason, the 2 of them are confident in completing their task. They just need to make sure that there are no witnesses. Epi, who didn't know anything about the incoming danger, was smiling big, upon reaching the city. Exiting the teleportation point, she started to walk towards the academy. The moment she spoke the Central City, they already guessed that she was going to the academy by herself. So, it didn't take long for them to discover her again, in the city. Like a normal visitor, the senior kidnapper, whose restrictions were now lifted, walked beside her. Since there are other people around, she didn't find anything amiss. 5 minutes later, he got the perfect opportunity to act. Taking out a 6-star skill card, he quickly tapped her back and activated the skill. Epi felt something touched her back. Just as she was about to turn her head, she found the streets around her were disappeared and were replaced by prison bars. Ha! Her eyes widened in shock. Back to the outside world, the rank .6 expert looked at the capture card he used earlier. A live image of Epi was displayed on the top of the card. Putting it into the pocket as he can't store it in the storage card, the kidnapper smirked, done. Now, all that's left is to inform the wealthy princess. But, before that, I need to hide her in a secure place. That prison will only hold her for a couple of hours and I can't return to the hideout before completing the task. Suddenly, something clicked in his mind, and ordered his junior to contact a certain person. They didn't stay long in the city and returned to the human world. Both of them didn't know that the target they were meant to lure had already checked out their background and is busy mobilizing experts to take care of them and the organization behind them. Above the skies of a level .3 region, which is located in the northern part of the Arcana world, a beautiful young woman was flying towards somewhere. While traveling to her destination, she was admiring the view from the sky. The land below her was full of ice. Up ahead of her, there's an icy mountain range filled with beautiful lakes, rivers, valleys, waterfalls, etc. Oh! A polar bear. Her eyes lit up as she saw a white giant bear of rank .6, was just sleeping peacefully, nearby a lake. She didn't disturb it and continued to fly. After she traveled some distance and was about to leave the region, her ears perked up. She glanced towards the direction and saw a couple is in a fierce battle against more than 5 mysterious people in black clothes. She then spotted a unicorn nearby that was helping out the couple. Immediately, she flapped her wings and changed the direction. Reaching the area, she then heard one of the rank point 6 experts saying, "Surrender yourself, Princess Sneaka. Don't make it any more complicated. His Highness is still willing to forgive your mistakes." "Who the hell that be ********** think he is?" She growled in response, blocking the attack with the shield. 10 years ago, I already cut off my relations with the palace. He is no longer my brother. Still, it doesn't erase the fact that you are Prince Rhaegron's fiancé. He's now ascended to the throne. He wished for you in exchange for the alliance. It's in your best interests to not resist further." One of the assassins continued to try convincing her. "If you don't return, we got the orders to bring back your dead body. If my strength wasn't suppressed, all of you would have been hacked to death." Afia growled at him. "And you believe you lot can kill me?" That's right, they are Oakley and Afia. And shockingly, she was a rank point 7 expert. As a healer, while Oakley and his unicorn are busy healing her, the princess was parrying their attacks with a sword and a shield. With the princess using a soul skill that lets her take the injury of her ally onto herself, the assassins were left with no choice but to completely focus on her. Soul skill. Salvation, nay, the unicorn neighed before it shot a golden beam of light onto the princess. As she was covered by a golden aura, Afia saw all of her injuries were healed and she continued to battle. Right then, from the sky, a glowing heavy sword was landed in between them, creating a huge seal formation below everyone. All of a sudden, everyone paused. Or rather, they felt their bodies were paralyzed and weren't to move except for their eyes. Along with the assassins, the wife and husband also experienced the same. The only one that was the exception is the unicorn, which raised his head, sensing a powerful light element user in the sky. The girl landed on the ground, grabbing the hilt of the sword. Her wings disappeared and she passed soul energy into the sword, which then lifted the restrictions on the couple. Both of them looked at her curiously. It was their first time to meet them. "Who are you?" Princess Sneaka asked her while being wary of her. She appeared too foreign with pale skin, blue eyes, and blonde hair. "I'm Cilia. Cilia Lefevre. I'm on my way towards Sun City and saw both of you in trouble. Do you need any help?" Chapter 69 Cilia Lefevre. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Lefevre. Afia was taken aback, realizing she's of royal family. As a person who belongs to the royal family of Sneaka, she obviously knew about the surnames of all other royal families. What surprised her is that she's from a place where monarchism is still alive. Like the island kingdom of Triastal, there are a few nations that reject the formation of a government. The people wholeheartedly follow the royal family and follow ancient traditions. Due to such reasons, these countries have bad relations with other democratic nations. So, unless a foreigner has an approval document from both sides, they won't be able to visit such kingdoms. And the same applies to the natives of those kingdoms if they want to venture outside. And now, Afia not only meets a citizen of such a kingdom, to her surprise, she's also the princess. How she could not be surprised. "Hello." Cilia called her again as she didn't receive any reply from Afia, who was just staring at her. Meanwhile, Oakley also stayed silent and kept an eye on the assassins that are struggling to move from the spot. "Ah, yes." Coming back to her senses, Afia said, "Thank you for your help." As she didn't reject her help, Cilia then paid her attention to the assassins before she raised her sword towards the sky, soul skill. Lightning rain, the clouds gathered above their heads and soon, it started to rain heavily. Meanwhile, sparks started to appear around her sword, and lightning generated from the tip of her sword, connecting all the way to the clouds. Be nov calm soon, multiple lightning bolts descended from the sky, onto the assassins that were rooted to the ground. As they struck them at the same time, every one of them turned to ash, not being able to withstand the attack. While Sneaka was awed by the scene, Oakley, on the other hand, was staring intently at the sword. For someone who was brought up in the Death Clan where there are supreme experts everywhere, he realized that it was at least a platinum-grade arcana. He even thought it might be a top tier too. After all, it's rare in the world of arcana that a powerful spirit possesses dual attributes. On top of that, light/thunder is one of the rarest combinations one can find. Clap, now that they have been dealt with, I guess I should be on my way. Beautiful white wings suddenly sprouted from her back. Looking at them she smiled, if you need any help, you can find me at Sun Academy. I'm one of the instructors there. Flapping her wings, she flew away, making the both of them stun on the spot. She wasn't a dual attribute but triple attributed. Oakley mumbled, looking at the sky. Moreover, a twin arcana user. It was clear that just by having wings, she also possessed the wind attribute. That was the thing you are shocked about. Afia looked at him as if he's an idiot. He didn't understand what she was trying to say. If that wasn't surprising, he didn't know what else is. Can't you see how young she is? If I'm right, she's barely 20 years old and she's already an instructor at Sun Academy. Upon hearing her, Oakley fell into thoughts for a while before he abruptly changed the topic. Let's leave. Avia must be waiting for us. The couple left for the nearby city and then teleported to Evelyn City, a tier 0.4 city that's located in a level 0.1 region. The mayor of the city is one of his close friends. After saving their daughter, both of them left Avia with him and lured the two assassins to this region where there's no restriction on Oakley. But, they didn't expect that the assassins have a backup. And that's how the two of them ended up surrounded by 10 assassins. Back to the present, picking up their daughter, they didn't waste any time leaving the world of Arcana. However, they didn't reach Northern Kudur's Aklian city but a completely different place. They took a cab and were going towards someplace. What about Azrael? Afia suddenly asked him. She was filled with worry. For the past week, there's never a moment she forgot about his well-being. Like a mother, she always worried about how he is living all alone in the house. Is he eating all right? Is he sleeping well? Was he waiting for them in worry? Did he move to the school dorm? Several kinds of thoughts often disturbed her and wanted to go back, right away. However, her real daughter was abducted. How could she go back and rest in such a time? But now that they were reunited, she can't help but think of Azzy, once again. No, we aren't going to contact him. Oakley shook his head, firmly. Did you already forget why we left without a notice? We already have enough problems. Why must we drag him into our mess? But, even though she understood what Oakley was trying to explain, she was reluctant to part with the boy whom she was willing to adopt as her son. 2 hours later, they reached a mansion, not as big as the previous one at Aklian but it is indeed the biggest one in town which only had a little over 10,000 people and is mostly filled with mortals. By the time Avia woke up from her sleep, she found herself lying on a bed. She looked around and found it unfamiliar. She was sure that it wasn't her room. You woke up, sweetie. Afia, who was moving a few things around, called out to her. Mom, where are we? She asked her. Our new home. It's a town called Sleia, located in southern Kudur. She didn't explain too much of their situation as her daughter is still only 7 years old. Avia then asked about Azzy but all received nothing but silence from her. As someone who is a kid and has slight negative feelings towards him, Avia felt it is better. She also felt happy inside. From now onwards, once again, I would be doted by my parents and wouldn't share their attention with anyone else. She didn't know how much her life would turn in the upcoming months. Chapter 70 Azzy's Choice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Meanwhile, at the Afia mansion, back in the city of Azzy was sitting alone in the hall. As soon as he returned from the Arcana world, Azzy directly went to meet the principal. He inquired about his family's whereabouts. But, the principal only disappointed him. Having no other choice, he returned to the mansion. Azrael, don't waste your time on something that you can nothing about. You should prepare for the upcoming tournament. You should become stronger to save your parents and return to your timeline. As the Reaper reminded of his original objective, Azzy decided to focus on completing the Decarun seal. He sat on the floor in a meditative pose and closed his eyes. He remembered the 10 runes that were shown by the Reaper. Back then, he didn't care much about their appearances, so, he didn't notice anything strange. But, during the past week, upon his master's advice, every day, Azzy read the newspapers of City Edition, Province Edition, and Country Edition. Since Oakley is widely known as the divine physician of the Aclean city, if something happens to him, the principal said that it will be sure shown up at these newspapers. While searching for the news about him, Azzy learned many new things about the outside world. Maybe, this is his master's aim. Whatever his motive is, it helped Azzy in developing a little bit of general knowledge and current affairs. Along with it, he also touched upon astrology, a study of the movements and relative positions of the planets and stars that influence their lives in certain ways. Then, Azzy saw the mystical 12 zodiac signs with a mixture of different creatures. At first, he found something strange about them. He felt they were connected to runes. As he dwelled on the subject further, Azzy found 10 of them are kinda similar to them. The only strange is that the last 2 of the zodiac signs are unrelated to the runes. It made him wonder whether there's a 12-rune seal too. After all, he heard from the Reaper about the formation of a galaxy at rank point 10 and a universe at rank point 11, he wondered whether the last 2 of them are related to those supreme ranks. Back to the present, Azzy concentrated on the first rune. The soul energy sipped away from the soul orb and entered his mindscape where the Reaper and the Black Wolf reside. Maybe, it's due to getting familiar with his arcana, or maybe, it because of the recent breakthrough. For whatever reason, Azzy felt easier to create a rune with his soul energy. As soon as it formed, Azzy saw a ring appeared around the soul orb. At the same time, a ring appeared on the first planet in his soul. Meanwhile, a small ring of a chain appeared on the Reaper's left hand. Good. The Reaper's voice rang in his head. He appeared delighted with the success. Now, the second one. The second seal took longer than the first one. It took more than 10 minutes to form the rune and seal away 100 soul power. The third one took half an hour and a third ring appeared on the soul orb, on the third planet, along with the third chain on the Reaper's left hand while sealing away 1000 soul power. Everything was smooth for the past hour. Just when he thought he will complete 6 seals, in no time, Azzy felt resistance for the first time. It was like a week ago when he first attempted to form the first seal. He continued to try. After an hour, he finally formed the 4th seal. Okay, now, the 5th seal. Azzy proceeded with the next one. This time, he felt the resistance increased tremendously. For some reason, he felt the soul energy was disobeying his will and is strongly resisting. He asked the Reaper whether he needed to stop there. However, the Reaper said otherwise and further explained. It's kinda similar to the immunity system of humans. The instinct of the soul energy was making it fight against the intruder that dares to seal it up. As you perform the higher seals, it will only get more difficult. 6 hours later, the house became dark with no lights on while Azzy was continuing to sit in the hall in a meditative pose. His stomach continued to rumble. However, he didn't open his eyes. Soon, the darkness fades away and the sunlight passes through the door, illuminating the hall. Azzy suddenly opened his eyes and a smile appeared on his face. 6th seal, successful. He was suddenly taken aback and touched his lips. If it was anyone familiar like Gideon or the future Avia, they would be shocked to see that not only Azzy appeared like a mortal with no soul energy, but he also had an expression on his face. For someone who wasn't able to express his feelings, Azzy was also puzzled by the changes too. The Reaper clarified to him that it was due to his soul energy and the Arcana spirit that made him like that in the first place. With him, sealing their power, it's obvious that he would be a normal human. At first, he felt delighted upon hearing the news. However, the Reaper's next sentence made him disappointed. So, either I can be like a normal human with no Arcana and soul power or an emotionless Arcana master. He asked the Reaper in confirmation. Yes. You cannot be both at the same time. The Reaper confirmed his thoughts and further said, but, it's a good thing that you can interchange with both of your personalities at any time. It's within your hands, who you want it to be. Azzy stood on his feet. He didn't reply anything to the Reaper. He simply closed his eyes and unlocked all the seals, thereby, becoming a blanked expression person, and opened his mouth, showing the emotions will only make others annoy me. It is better if I don't have them. His tone appeared plain as before.